Good morning, folks. We're calling this one a vigilante, a criminal, and a sexual abuser walk into a bar. But it isn't a bar they're walking into. They're walking into the New York City mayoral race. And this video is about Zohran Mamdani and how he is putting both the Republicans and the Democrats on notice about just exactly how the people feel here. So let's talk for a minute. Democratic socialism. It's not a new concept. There are several sitting in office right now. Okay. Bernie Sanders, AOC, Greg Cesar of Texas, Rashida Tlaib of Michigan. They all fight for the people. Okay. All of them. That's what democratic socialism is all about. Okay. There are others who are, in state government, like Zoe Zephyr in Montana, the first openly transgender woman ever elected, and has been reelected because her constituents love her because she works for them. Okay. And Zohran Mamdani himself was a New York State assemblyman. Okay. He's not new to the game. In fact, he's an incredibly accomplished and intelligent man who works for the people. But we have to protect the wealthy here. This is the way politicians work sometimes. Okay. Not all politicians, but some politicians. Now we have the Republican Party, led by Andy Ogles, not the brightest bulb on the planet and one of the biggest assholes in the Republican Party, calling for Donald Trump to deport Zohran Mamdani under a Civil War statute. Okay. And we have some centrist Democrats who claim he can't win. Centrist Democrats like New York Senator Kristen Gillibrand and Congressman Dan Goldman. They won't back him. Well, don't back him, okay? Don't back him if that's what you want. Brad Landers, who ran against Zohran Mamdani, who actually endorsed him, and they kind of endorsed each other. They actually worked together, okay? That's how government works. You work together for the people, okay? All right. Dan Goldman and Kristen Gillibrand should be out there on the road fighting Donald Trump instead of fighting people in their own party. Okay. We'll talk about them later. But right now we're going to talk about just exactly what this is all about. So for the centrist Democrats, Zohran Mamdani is not good. But I guess these three idiots who are running are okay. So let's start with Curtis Sliwa, who is the guy who created the Guardian Angels. He's basically a nothing. Okay. He's an absolute nothing. He's a vigilante. Okay. And he's a Republican. Number two, Andrew Cuomo, who abused his office to the point where it cost New York taxpayers almost $60 million to pay off his legal fees, mostly as regards to sexually abusing, sexually harassing women. Okay. And, state investigators said they have corroborated the claims of at least 11 women through hours of testimony, 179 witnesses, and reams of documents. Okay. He also has been shady in his dealings on a corruption level. All of this will be in the YouTube version of this video. You can see it all for yourself. It's in the public venue. Then we have Eric Adams, the current mayor of New York, who was indicted on one count of conspiracy to defraud the U.S., one count of wire fraud, 2 counts of soliciting campaign contributions from foreign nationals, and 1 count of soliciting and accepting a bribe. Pretty similar to what Democrat Robert Menendez was accused of and found guilty of. And he's going to jail. But Eric Adams, Donald Trump dropped all those charges when he took office because Eric Adams has promised to help him deport undocumented New Yorkers. That, my friends, is what we call a quid pro quo. That is corruption at the highest levels. But that's okay. Those guys are okay. I don't hear any of the centrist Democrats dumping on them. I only hear the centrist Democrats dumping on a guy who wants to work for the people. And what kind of outrageous shit does he want to do? Hey, he wants free city buses, maybe 2 to 3 bus lines as a test. Okay, mostly in depressed counties of New York. He wants state-owned grocery stores in depressed counties of New York so that they can protect people from price gouging, so they can afford food. He believes in universal child care so people can go to work. Other countries do this. We're the richest country in the fucking world, and we don't do any of this. Okay? And the centrist Democrats, they don't even want to try this because they like to collect money for their election campaigns. You know, like our friend out there in Arizona who took $10 million from the crypto industry. And then what happens? He gets elected to the Senate and there's a crypto bill in the Senate. That's how this shit works. That's Ruben Gallego, by the way. By the way, the other thing that some of these cowardly Democrats are totally comfortable with is turning their back on transgender people. But not Zohran Mamdani. He's got an entire list of things he wants to do to protect transgender people in New York. And that's what every single Democrat should be doing, is protecting the LGBTQ community, protecting people of color, protecting people who are disadvantaged, protecting people who are challenged, physically challenged, the handicapped. That's what every single Democrat ought to be doing. Protecting immigrants. Okay? You want a big tent party? Then you act like a big tent party. Let me just tell you something. The LGBTQ plus community, I am a member of. My children are members of the LGBTQ plus community. We came out, the LGBTQ plus community came out at 82% for Kamala Harris, even though she barely mentioned transgender people during her campaign. We came out anyway. For the Democrats to be cowering from us, it makes me sick. Who do they think is going to vote for them? Let me just give you a tip. I have a postcard mailing that I did early on. Here it is right here. This right here, 74% of Americans support transgender rights. Get on the right page, okay? And wake up. I want to see Kirsten Gillibrand, Dan Goldman, and the rest of the centrist Democrats out of their chairs and out on the streets fighting Donald Trump instead of fighting members of their own party. Whether you like it or not, at some point, this country is going to have to work for the people because there are 335 million of us, and very few of them are billionaires and millionaires compared to the rest of the population. And we're getting goddamn tired of it. Now, don't turn away from this video because you don't live in New York, because this is about the future of this nation and where we are going. We are seeing a seismic shift in what the people will tolerate. And we need to keep this seismic shift going no matter what the centrists want us to do and no matter what the Republicans want us to do. My message to you is this. We need to make sure that all Democrats are elected up and down the ballot in 2026. So we can make Donald Trump's term a 2-year term and stop the damage he's doing here. And once we are comfortably out of this fascist bullshit and we get rid of every last Republican enabler, we need to start transforming the Democratic Party into a party of the people, a real party of the people, not just lip service. But first and foremost, the GOP has got to go. They are destroying this nation and making it impossible for any of us to turn this country into a country for us. So they have to go first. I will talk to you all later.